Hello and welcome to Top Fives, the show of everything Top Fives, presented by the Sex Effects. I'm Joey Parati,
And I'm Sean Day.
and folks, we have a singular, loving list for you this evening on episode 240 of Top
Woo!
Fives. But before we get to the celebration, the lists, the storytelling, Jonathan, how are you, my friend?
I'm doing great, man. It's freaking. We're midway kind of through April a little bit, getting there. Um, yeah, man. I said goodbye to my grandma, who she left. What was that 2 days ago, I believe? 2 days ago, or a day ago? Sorry, one day ago. Um,
That's okay.
I'm sure she's in England now, but safe travels to my grandma. It was really nice having her over for the month, and I'm glad I got to see her for the few times that I did. So it was very emotional because I remember she mentioned that this might be one of the last times she comes over here to America. So wishing you the best, Grandma, and I love you very much. So yeah. And then what else has happened this weekend? It was Easter, right? So
Was
kind of kept it local for Easter. Did an Easter egg hunt with my girlfriend and her son, um, and that was pretty fun. We got him like a little cool little prize, finding the golden egg or whatever. And
nice.
what else? There wasn't much going on Easter. We just had like lunch together, and then um, yeah, that's pretty much it. Nothing too much. I was a little sad that I didn't get to come up because I know I went like 2 weekends to San Francisco, and the following weekend would have been Easter weekend, and I know that's when your family does an Easter celebration as per tradition. And I'm sure I think my parents did go, and my grandma was there too. So I was missing that a little bit. But you kind of had a different weekend altogether than the typical kind of Easter weekend. So I'm kind of curious to hear what was going
Tony,
on.
the last 2 weeks of my life have been an odyssey. I would love to take you on that journey.
Oh, perfect.
Um, and it
Perfect.
starts with the that Friday that you were here, and Hopkins was here, and Fiona was
Yeah.
here, and Annie was here, and Odalis was here. And yeah, so Alicia threw me this, birthday celebration at our pad, and so you guys got to see the place, and we all got to hang out, and it was
That was so
fucking
nice. Yeah, that was so
wonderful,
nice.
and really just it was amazing. It was really it was awesome. And then the next day we went to North Beach, my actual birthday, because I gotta have Joe's, and I want to be in North Beach because I want
Yeah,
North
why
Beach.
not?
And we've talked about our favorite coffee on this show before, and my number one place is Hole in the Wall,
Okay.
down there. I believe it's Stockton Union. It's on Union. It's at the corner, Union and Stockton. And see Nick and what's up, man? And we're getting coffee, doing whatever, and it was great. It was beautiful. There was paintings out in the park. We walked around and saw all these wonderful. This woman tried to sell us a painting. It was way too expensive. We weren't going to do it, but we heard her out, and that was great. And met my folks. They got there a little early, so we went and had a drink at Vesuvio, which was
Ooh, nice.
lovely. Um, and then we met up with my brother and his lovely fiance Bianca, and we yeah had a lovely Joe's lunch. I had a burger for the first time since in 2022. I always disallow myself to have a burger up until my birthday. It's not quite like 5 months or 6 months, but it's a healthy 4 months of no burger. Even though I ate filet mignons and like
Yeah.
other types of red meat. We don't talk
That's-
about it. It's okay. But and then I was having these. They have this drink at Joe's. The what's it called? City Lights. City
City
Lights is so.
lights.
It's a gin. I don't know. It's something, but it comes in like a nice coupe glass,
Ooh.
and delicious. I had like three or
Well,
four of
birthday
those.
cocktail. All right.
Dude, yes. So I'm feeling great and toasted. We walked my folks back to my car, all drunk at this point, and I'm telling Lisa, like, we should probably get one more coffee before we head back. Yeah, I think that's a good idea. All right, let's go. And it's like 3 o'clock at this point. What's up, man? Hey, dude. And he makes us our coffee. He's like, hey, would you guys mind watching the shop for a sec? And runs, you know, is gone, comes back within a couple minutes. Bottle of champagne, dude. Is like, all right, happy birthday, you know. So we're just,
What?
yeah, man. It was
Whoa.
great. I honestly like the highlight of my birthday. I was like, this is the coolest like neighborhood thing, you know. This is
Yeah. No, that's
I feel
super
like you're part of
cool.
the community. It's wonderful. So yeah, that was a great time. It was a lot of fun. And then the next day, Monday, I took off and just kind of napped on and off.
Yeah.
Lisa and I
Recover a
watched The
little bit.
Third Man. We watched Sopranos. It was good, man. Um, but yes, then we go to this weekend, um, which was absolutely insane and wonderful. Honestly, I don't know how we're going to beat this one. So my cousin Alberto, I was in his wedding. Maybe I'll edit a couple photos
Oh
onto
yeah, you got to see what
the
Joy was
video
wearing,
here.
man. So
I was
cool.
in full mariachi regalia, but we'll get to that. Um, I had to take Friday off, so the rehearsal I was told was at noon on Friday. Um, and me, I missed early, so I left here at like 9:45, and I get to its place out called Grand Island Mansion. It's out in the Delta, so kind of in between like Ileton, Sacramento area,
Oh, okay.
kind of out in like it's almost like it feels like the bogs or the um, swampy kind of territory.
Oh, okay.
Um, so I let's see, take off before 10 on Friday. I get there around 11:30, 11:40. No one's there yet. I walk up to the mansion. I knock on the door. This cleaning lady lets me in. I was like, hey, how's it going? And I said something, and she said something. Neither of us understood each other. I just started wandering around the mansion by myself and like
Hey, I mean that's
walking
kind of cool.
around,
Yeah.
opening doors, like just checking it out. Um, was having a great, like, was walking completely unsupervised all around this like
That's so cool.
mansion. It's hilarious. And then finally, I was walking upstairs. They're like, "Hey, can you take a seat?" Yes. I was like, "I'm here for the rehearsal, and I believe it's at noon." They're like, "We don't have a rehearsal at noon." Brandon was the second dude to get there, like 15, 20 minutes later, and no one's like showing up for a little bit, you
Oh
know.
man. Yeah.
And well, it turns out because all of the groomsmen were in his band, St. Bernardsons and the Wolf, musicians are chronically and historically late. So he told everyone a much earlier time. And
Okay.
this place was so out in the cuts. Like I'd
Yeah.
have to
Yeah.
drive 25 minutes to go get a cup of coffee or a water bottle or anything like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, but I showed up to this mansion thinking, oh, it's a mansion. They'll have at least coffee or little treats or something, and like I could maybe talk them into like letting me have a drink or something, but no, no, no,
No.
no.
Oh
There was
no.
water, but that was it. And I was like, but if I had left, I didn't know how late the thing was going to be. If I had left and come back, I would have been late. So I just it wasn't bad. I was running off like
Yeah.
adrenaline. I was
Yeah.
good. I'm not complaining in the least. I'm just trying to give you my take on the story, because it was a story. So rehearsal ends. We run through it and everything, and then my Airbnb was in Ileton, so it was about 25 minutes, 25 30 back where I came from.
Okay.
So I go to Ileton, and I'd been there once with the ex and the ex-in-laws, because it's right over by their hometown.
Okay.
And we'd been to, I remember this Mexican restaurant. I want to say it was on H Street or something. I only know the street names because I was just there. Um, but there is only like one kind of main street on the town.
Okay.
Everything was closed,
Everything
except,
was
I mean,
closed.
there
Oh
was there was
no.
like a couple. There was like a kind of a bakery shop that I went into and got like some jerky and water. And there's like something else, but it was kind of a ghost town. But people were out and they were kind of giving me looks, and I was like, okay. And then I go a street over to where my Airbnb is, and it's this brand new development, and it's all colorful, and it's like it's sitting right next to, one block over is like whoa 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 whoa. It's like what?
Yeah, it's such a
Um,
random kind of
yeah.
thing, right? Yeah.
So I go up to this Airbnb, and I just have a private room in this house. And I go up to the second floor, and it's like 4 rooms and a shared bathroom. And someone, of course, is taking a shit and listening to something on their phone while they're doing it. And I'm just like, cool, 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 cool. So I change or whatever, and then take off for the rehearsal dinner, which was in Sacramento. So that now
Oh,
this
okay.
is
So you have to do
50 minutes from my
a little trek. Okay.
Airbnb, a
Damn.
little
Okay.
trip. Um, but man, this food was good. We had it was bottomless margs. I only had two. I kept it safe. Cadillac margaritas. But the food was excellent. The company was excellent. Hung out a lot with Jim from St. Francis and the Wolf.
Nice. Okay.
Um, and just, I mean, everyone was great. Everyone was wonderful, and everyone was in such a good mood to celebrate Alberto and Allie. It was awesome. And but yeah, then it was like, okay, now it's kind of late. I'm a little tired. I wasn't drunk. I wasn't buzzed, but I was. It was the exhaustion. Let's just say it was the exhaustion.
Yeah, I got
But
a
now
little
I'm going to
trip in
drive
there.
back on the Delta, 50 minutes in the dark. And I'm not a good night driver, and these headlights are shit. Anyway, I made it because I'm here, and I tossed and turned till maybe 1:30, and then I was up at 7,
Okay.
showered, got the hell out of there because I used some of the other people's shampoo and body wash. I didn't want them to know. So I got out of there, and I'm like, okay, where can I go get coffee and like a good breakfast? I don't have to be to the mansion till 11. That's when we're going to take photos and get changed and all that. So I go, there's nothing open in Isleton, but I can
Dang.
go
Okay.
to across the bridge to Rio Vista, 10 minutes away.
Okay.
Um, and that's where my ex is from. I knew one of the good bakeries, so I went there. And man, I had a fucking excellent breakfast sandwich. I have to tell you,
Ooh.
this thing
Okay.
was just like gushing fucking melted cheese. You know
Oh,
what I
dude.
mean?
When you
On
get
a
the cheese right,
croissant.
yeah, when you get the cheese right, it's
Yeah,
good.
yeah, it's fantastic. But again, small towns up there, right? This Rivas is one stoplight town, so only the bakery was open and the dive bar. So
Little
it's
pick me up stop
9:30
right
in the
there.
morning. I have my breakfast sandwich, I have my Americano, I talked to Lise, I talked to my mom, and I've still got like 2 hours to kill. So I'm like, I guess we're going into the dive bar, kids. So I go in there, and it's this lady's working behind the bar, and I get a Stella, and it was hitting the spot, I gotta say. And so fuck, where am I? Yes, okay. So I'm in this dive bar, and I'm like, so you guys usually open this early and everything? And she goes, no, the town gravedigger passed away, and we're having a funeral for him. He was kind of a big deal here. And I
Oh.
said, oh, I'm so sorry to hear. I'm so sorry for your loss. She's like, I gotta work the bar. It's okay. Um, then this kind of tough looking motherfucker comes in, kind of like the white Danny Trejo,
Okay.
if you know what I mean.
Yeah. Okay.
Just
Stone cold
leather
face.
and
Yeah.
rough and okay, like I'm not gonna, whatever. And he takes a seat next to me at the bar, and we're, just, and she goes, you don't care what flavor, right? He's like, no. Pops him a White Claw at 9:30 in the morning. Didn't care what flavor. That was incredible to me. Um, I know I'm having a beer, but you're having a White Claw,
A
homie.
white claw, baby.
But not that I haven't done it. I'm just saying, I'm not, no judgments here. But then they start talking about like a mutual friend who uh, got popped or something. They're like, do you know what county is being held at? Oh, I think it's
Oh
Solano
man.
County. Isn't Napa part of Solano County? Blah, blah, blah. Well, what'd they get him for? They got him for domestic violence in a Walmart, public intoxication, running from the cops, and once he was apprehended, they found a bunch of meth on him.
Whoa.
And the guy sitting next to me is like, or she goes, yeah, he hasn't gone to trial yet. And the guy sitting next to me is like, he better not go to trial. He better take the plea deal, because if you go to trial, you know, If you go to trial, then you get, and you lose, and he will lose, you get the maximum sentence. But if you take the deal, you still got to do some time, but it's not as bad. And that's what I've always done whenever they found my pistol or my drugs on me. I just take the plea deal, and I'm just like,
Holy shit.
and then he went to use the bathroom, and the bartender, she was like, I'm really sorry about that. I was like, are you kidding me? This is
Yeah,
fantastic.
some
This is great.
top-notch conversation.
This is culture.
Yeah.
Um,
Whoa. Whoa.
so then I finished my beer and got the fuck out of there, and went back to the bakery, got another coffee. I bought all of their donut holes, some pizza bread for later, and I took off towards the mansion. I got there. I was once again the first one there at about 10:30,
Here we go. Punctual as
10:35.
always.
You know, I'll be early to my own funeral, and I can't wait because the soundtrack's going to kick ass. It's going to be the event of the season. Um, but so I get there like 10:30, 10:35, and I run up to the mansion. Same thing. I just walk in this time. No one's around. I go and take a shit. And by the time I come back out, it's pouring rain.
Oh, it's
It's just
raining.
pouring rain. So I just sit outside the mansion. They've got classical music pumping, and it's I mean, it's beautiful. It's surreal. Maybe I'll take some time and actually edit some of the stuff I got from there into this episode. Um, but yeah, man. So it was a trip. Finally, people start showing up. Um, and yeah, once again, it was like, oh, it'll be at 11. Oh, no, it's like at 1:30 or something. But we're in the mariachi gear now, and we're hanging out, and found a bottle of vodka or tequila, and kind of getting into that. And then the ceremony happened. The ceremony was beautiful. Ceremony was absolutely gorgeous, and it was all of like maybe 4 minutes long, which like
Yeah. Nice,
that's what
small,
I'm
short, and
talking
sweet.
about. That
Yeah.
is what I'm talking about. Um, but it was great. And then we immediately went over, it took place in this little courtyard, excuse me, this little courtyard. And then you walk up the steps to where like the front steps of the mansion are, but then you go around the side of the mansion, and that's where the dance floor was. And it was outside, and then there was a giant white tent that had the whole ceremony, right?
Oh, okay.
Or had the whole reception, excuse
Reception.
me.
Yeah.
And they had a whole mariachi band playing.
So cool.
Alberto sang Alia's song, which was just gorgeous. And I got to see my cousin Mickey and his wife Elizabeth were there, my Uncle Mike, my Uncle Pat, Aunt Vic, Angie, Juliet, Chris, and their son Kira. And like, so it was like this family reunion, but like it was wild because it's the first time I feel like where I've hung out with that, with those family members, but my folks weren't there because they were prepping Easter. So that was in and of itself was a really kind of cool experience. You know what I mean? You almost feel like the chaperones aren't around.
Yeah.
So that was great. It was everyone had such a good time. I'm trying to remember. Oh, right. Another embarrassing. So these mariachi outfits were not particularly forgiving. They were a little tight.
A little tight.
And
Yeah.
little. And so after the ceremony, one of Alberto's brothers was like, I think I'm gonna change right now. Or, and me and one of the other girls were like, let's have one cocktail and then we'll all go and change. Yeah. So I have my one cocktail, and then I go up to the room and I change. Because we were staying over in the mansion at this point.
That's
so
right.
I had all my stuff with me. I forgot to mention that. So I go up and I change, and I wear my new like wedding, I got a suit that's kind of gray and these blue pants or whatever. And I was like, fuck it, I'm wearing my Chuck Taylors. But walking around in those mariachi boots all day, I'm wearing my fucking Chucks. And we go and sit down, and we're having champagne and talking, having a great time. And then they're like, oh, hey, you're needed outside. You're needed outside. I was like, what? And they're like, we're gonna introduce the wedding party. This was not practiced. This was not rehearsed. This was not foretold. So I get out there, and I'm the only motherfucker not in the mariachi outfit.
Oh no.
But it was okay. I was very embarrassed, but it was fine. Everyone assured me it was okay.
Cool.
Um, yeah, the food was great. We kept switching off from having like, okay, gin and tonics. All right, let's have some coffee. They had a full espresso bar and someone
Oh,
making like
nice.
cappuccinos and stuff. And so I lost count of just how many different kind of drinks I
Drinks you
had.
had
And it
that
was,
day.
we wound up, um, there was the reception or whatever kind of outside died down around 11:30, 12, something like that.
Okay, just before
And then
midnight.
there was
Yeah.
like an after party for those staying in the mansion, which we were. And there was what they called the Hemingway Lounge. And it's just
Ooh.
this lounge with a bar on the second floor of the mansion, on the same floor where we were all staying and stuff. And they had pizza, they had a bartender making drinks.
Oh, so cool.
We were the last ones to bed. We hung out with Ali and Alberto until after 3:30 in the morning.
What?
Yeah.
Dang. They
So
wanted that. They wanted the after party.
it was insane. It was great. And then in the course of all that, so our room was in, how do I explain this? So like our room was originally on the fourth floor, and you walk in, and then there's like a door behind the bed almost, or like a
Okay.
doorway, and that leads into another room, and that's the only way to get to that other room. And his brother was back there,
Okay.
and Alberto pulls us aside. He's like, "Hey, don't want anyone to have to deal with that, so I'm going to put you guys in this other room." We walk to the other room, and there's all these. I think it was like his mom's room, and like there's a bunch of kids stuff, and like, and I don't know how to say anything. I'm like, I'll just deal with the awkward situation of just like, let's just stay in the bed that we originally,
Yeah.
And Lisa's like, I'm just gonna say, hey, just to let you know, this is what's going on. And he goes, oh, hold on one second. He comes back. He's like, all right, guys. So um, Brandon was the best man, but he didn't stay. So please take this room, the best man suite. And this,
Oh.
I felt
Wow.
like royalty in this bed, dude. And then they had the tub that with these giant windows and like overlooking tennis courts and the reception dance floor outside, and like it was
Whoa.
insane, man. It was so
Whoa.
cool.
Okay.
Um, then and don't worry, kids, we're getting to the third act. I know this is a long
No, it's
story.
all good. I mean, this is cool, man, because I mean, you were telling me about this weekend or kind of building up to it, I would say. And
Yeah,
I think that's kind of a cool venue, a mansion. Like it makes
it
sense to
is.
kind of like have everyone stay there and like, and have
Yeah,
the wedding reception stuff there. So that's a good
it was
idea instead of having
very
like,
it was very cool.
hotels and all that kind of stuff. But
There were hotels like in Sacramento for a lot of the guests, but
yeah.
there was also a shuttle taking them back and forth. Um,
Oh, that reminds me of my
so
cousin Edwin's wedding. He did shuttles to the reception area because it was this restaurant, but it was like kind of
nice.
similar. It was like in the middle. You had to climb up this mountain just to get to this place, and it was a restaurant that was like on the top of the mountain. Yeah, it was. We were all laughing because we are like, "When are we? Like, when are we gonna get to this reception?" But yeah, it's the venue stuff is always an interesting choice, right? Because it's like, do you have like everything there? But
Yeah.
anyways,
Um, oh, yeah, we get to bed after 3:30. For whatever reason, my body was like, wake up at like 7:30 or 8. Um, which is not optimal, but it's okay. We went back to the Hemingway Lounge, had coffee and like muffins and things, uh, checked out, got on the road, was like, oh my God, I had the pizza bread that I bought in Vista. So I had that while I was driving. Wonderful. Um, Me and Lee's like raced home almost. It took us about an hour and a half to get back to the city. Um, and then I got home, or we both got home. I showered, changed, and got an Uber. I was like, I'm done driving this weekend. Got an Uber to my parents' house and got there around 11:30. And then people and immediately started having Stellas because I needed that was my life force at
yeah,
that
you
point. It
needed
was only
to.
making me stronger at that point. Um, and then yeah, people started arriving at 2 o'clock. It was a classic Parati Easter. Um, I'm sad that you weren't there, but it was, I have to say, it may have been the best Easter just because, and me and my mom were talking about this, like, the pandemic put a lot of things into perspective. And holidays, especially with family and stuff, can always feel like an obligation. And so I think this was the first, Easter where everyone who was there because they wanted to be there. And everyone had a great time and everyone was in a good mood. And yeah, man, the food was wonderful, but
Oh, of
everyone
course,
was,
yeah.
and it was great to see, of course, your folks are there, had a great time chatting with your pops and your grandma. And, we stayed almost, your folks stayed, I think, 15 or 20 minutes later than we did. But I wanted to, spend as much time as I could with Grandma Day and, had a great, goodbye and send off. And we toasted all those who were not there with us. And it was one for the books. It really, and but I'll tell you, it was an odyssey of I'm still exhausted.
Yeah.
I took yesterday off and was useless. I was absolutely useless.
And that's okay, especially after
Yeah,
all the shenanigans you went through, and then being part of the wedding party too. I feel like that's a whole another level right there, right? You got to be
yeah.
going to the rehearsals and all that kind of stuff, and then driving back for Easter, and that's a crazy weekend, dude. So yeah, but you did it. You
I
did
did
it.
it. But no, now we're back. Now we're back to work and back to podcasting, friends.
Yeah.
So here we are. That was my couple weekends. Oh, I didn't tell you. I didn't tell you what Lise got me for my birthday.
Oh,
Did
what'd
I
you
tell
get?
you the one artist that she got us? This wasn't a birthday present. She saw
Okay.
it. She's like, we got to get tickets. Elton John.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
Did I
Okay.
tell you?
I think
Um,
so. I think you mentioned it, but I don't know if it was
yeah.
confirmed.
So that is confirmed. And then also confirmed on my birthday, she goes, hey, didn't you want to watch The Third Man? I'm like, it was a little bit after you guys left. I'm like, it's midnight, it's 1 a.m. She's like, just come on, go over, show me the disc again. And I pulled it from the shelf and opened it up, and there's a picture of Paul McCartney and with a word bubble, and he's like, I'll see you May 6th. So
What? Dude. Oh, that's so
in
fucking
Oakland.
cool, man.
Yeah,
Oh, in
yeah,
Oakland, dude.
yeah.
Oh, that's gonna be
So
amazing. Dude,
so
so Elton and Paul.
Elton and Paul,
Oh my
yeah. And
god,
Bob
dude.
Dylan just put out like 3 shows in Oakland too. I'm like,
I honestly, I think you should do it. Just hit all three of them, dude. Like,
yeah. And then just be done with it.
yeah, dude,
Um,
that's so cool, man.
yeah,
Fuck, man, that's especially for we both saw Paul in L.A. and we talked about it on the podcast too, but like it was such a like trends. I don't even know what like transcendent experience. I mean, it was like literally such
truly.
like compared to every concert we've probably been to in our lives, it was just a totally different experience, I think. And I'm sure it'll be kind of similar with like Elton John, someone who has been playing for so long and has such great songs. And I heard it was is this his
Oh,
last tour,
he's
or
been he's been saying that it was his last tour since
like
like
his retired? Yeah,
2017, so it's like I
take it
mean,
with a grain of
yes,
salt,
it
I
is. It
guess.
says it's his farewell tour, but we'll see.
Man,
um but
I'm
yeah,
sure that's gonna be quite experience, because Elton John's like known for his like costumes and like all his kind of his stage kind of show or whatever. So
paraphernalia,
paraphernalia.
you know
So dude,
but
that's
yeah,
awesome. That's so cool. Also props to Alicia, because just putting like the little message inside the the disc, getting
it was
creative.
like
That's
young
good.
Paul, like,
Yeah,
yeah,
I was like, that's so cool. Being able to put that together, and that's awesome, dude. You know what?
yeah.
Your birthday weekend was like, I'm glad we all got to see each other. It was so cool, like hanging out with you and Andrew and everyone else, and um, the cocktails were great. I mean, just making it was just like nice, like you know, just drinking cocktails
We
together
felt
and
like
hanging out.
grown-ups.
Yeah, it was
in
it
a
was grown
way,
up stuff,
you
dude.
know. I don't know.
So,
Yeah.
but yeah, it was a lot of fun, man, and it was good to hang out. And then actually to kind of go off that, you pulled Andrew and myself aside at one point. I think earlier when Andrew kind of came, and I don't have it on me right now. It's actually sitting on my record player right now. But Joey actually printed um, a vinyl version of our Deep and Meaningful EP, the two singles that we have from Blind Issues, which is super cool. And we were both sitting there because I remember you mentioned it to me, and I was like, "This is crazy," but I don't know how it's gonna look like, or aside from just the front cover. And what we obviously you realize is like we need like a back artwork and for the inside of the vinyl record itself. So it was really cool, man. And I gave one to like my brother and my dad. And then actually when I got back from the trip, I was like, I kind of want to hear what this sounds like. And it was interesting because it sounds so like there's just something about. I know we went from like a digital uh, file to a record, but still having like the grooves and the just like hearing
Yeah.
it on a record player was like a different experience still. It
Yeah.
was cool. It
Yeah.
was really cool, especially for music we made. So it's like, yeah, that was really really cool to listen to. And you're right that it has like 30 seconds, but of like a buffer, like silence. But it's funny. I think on Low Cut Dress, it reaches that like very last part, and then I think because my record player, how it's designed, it's supposed to just like stop when it doesn't feel any more grooves or something.
Oh
So it
no.
literally ends the song and it goes ooh, and it's kind of cool because it's like, all right, like it's done. But yeah, it was
Whoa.
it was a cool experience, dude. I sat there and I just kind of listened back, and then I was like, just like looking at Dallas. I was like, this is so cool. Like, this is like such a cool gift, and yeah, hopefully we'll do some more in the future. Like, if we release more music, and um, I think that would be kind of a cool thing if we have, if people are interested in our music on vinyl too. So, but I want to say on the show, thank you, Joey, for printing those. I think that was such a cool little gift and project. I mean, because you got to feature some more of your pictures and your artwork and everything, and then kind of giving, just like how we used to have CDs and stuff. It's like kind of giving this, physical, tangible thing for us to like listen to, and it's just like it's such a different day and age now where everything's like digital, and we originally released it digital, the song, so I thought that was really cool to have just something tangible to hold on to. And then
I'm
Odell,
so glad you like it.
yeah, dude. And then
Sorry, sorry, sorry.
Dallas was like, because I was telling her, I was like, oh, it's just so like, records. I'll keep records for so long. I will hold on to my records probably for until I pass them on to my kids or whatever. But I was like, it's gonna be really cool when, we have the baby and everything, and like one day, my kid's gonna be like curious about music and stuff, and it's gonna be great because I get to show him like this is something we made together. Like, it's cool to have that. It's like just like records or DVDs or any collect. It's it's kind of a part of a curated part of you, or you'll keep it.
Document.
Yeah, yeah. So I thought that was really cool, and I had like kind of a moment. I was like, oh man, this is like great that you thought about this, and I'm happy that you gave us some records. So I was like, that's so cool.
So I'm glad, man. I'm really glad. No, it came out cool,
It
you
came
know?
out great. I mean, I wish I had it on me so I could show you guys, but like
Um,
it has. Oh, here, Joy might be able to show you.
Never mind my sweats.
we're in COVID times, kids.
Yeah, dude.
Um,
I have to do laundry soon. So
I did. That was only all day yesterday. But, yeah, blind issues.
yeah, so cool.
Uh, yes, and if you have the option to go clear vinyl, you got to go clear
Why
vinyl.
not?
So
It looks so cool.
deep and meaningful. Uh,
Yeah,
yeah, man.
I thought that was just such a cool little thing to put together because I know we've talked about doing vinyl releases before, and it works. It works perfectly for these two singles because you can have one song on each side,
Yeah,
and for a 45 too, like being able to put that on a smaller record. I think that's just like it just works so well,
yeah.
and that's what I was curious listening to. I was like, how does this translate to a vinyl record? And it sounded even better than I remember it. So yeah, that was such a cool gift, man. I appreciate you giving that
Oh, I'm
along,
so glad.
passing along to the Blind Issues fam. So
We've earned it, boys. We made it. So,
yeah.
yeah, man.
Yeah,
Well,
I had when I came back that night, I handed the one that you gave for my brother to my brother because he was there, and he was like, "Yo, this is crazy." And I was like, "Yo, you gotta get a record player now, dude." So
hell yeah.
yeah, but yeah, good
That's what's
times,
up,
man.
man. That's what's up.
That's what's up.
Well, shit. Um, do we want to get into some lists, or there is a couple of pop culture things that have come up that I feel we should talk about? Well, we can do that after.
Dude, either one, either one. I'm game for whatever, man.
Okay, quickly then.
Okay.
Um, an image of Michael Keaton in the bat suit from, I guess, The Flash and Batgirl leaked. Um, spoilers in case I decide to put it on here.
Yeah.
But Shawnee, did you see it and what did you think?
I did see it, and it was it. I don't think I saw it from like the official thing. It was like a repost or something. It
But
looks
with the white background and he's
Yeah,
just
the
kind of
white back.
standing
Yeah,
there.
it's just him kind of there. I mean I like it. It looks pretty close to what the original one was. They have the still the white or the sorry yellow, bat symbol, yellow and black. Sorry.
Yeah, yeah,
I didn't get a chance to look like deeply into it because I don't know if like sometimes they change like the texture of the leather and all or whatever it is, rubber or whatever. So that I did not really get into, but it looked pretty kind of faithful and close to the original Batman costume for what I saw from it. Um, Makes me excited. I mean, there's all the other Ezra Miller controversies
that was the
on
other
top of
piece
that,
of thing that yeah I felt we should talk about. But yeah,
but yeah, I'm at it. I'm at I don't know how this movie is gonna be like, and I don't know what is in store for this Flash at all. But
yeah,
it is cool that we're getting. I don't know if I agree with it. Like, do we really need Michael Keaton's Batman back again? But it is cool that we're again seeing this kind of a movie that's going to be able to have him in there.
yeah.
Um, will we get like the infamous "I'm Batman" line in there? You
I
know,
bet you we will.
well, yeah, will we get some of those moments? But I do hope his role in the film serves some sort of important like purpose, and not just kind of jerking off uh, yeah, just the fan servicey stuff, which I don't know. I have my opinions about fan service. Like sometimes it's done well. If that for me, it's like if it best serves the story and adding to the character in the film. If they do that with his Batman character, if they're gonna bring him back, I hope that kind of is in the movie, or at least his portrayal of Batman again now. So that's what I'm hoping for. So we'll see.
Yeah,
Um, and then I did read because I don't really care too much. I mean, I'm not like super stoked for this movie. There was like this leaked like plot synopsis,
yeah.
which I don't believe that stuff usually. Because you just never know where the source was. I forgot what it was. One of
It was like
those.
a redditor, like
Yeah. So I don't know how that is, but I was like, hey, I mean, if this movie might be cool if it's gonna talk about multiverse type stuff. If there's in the trailers, there's already like multiple flashes and stuff. So Um, I guess how they're going to explain that is probably is what's going to be the main hook, and I think the way they're going to kind of move forward with like these rest of these movies, I don't really know. I don't even know. Like that's why it's like, is the future of DC like hinging on this movie because they can kind of like multiverse
Better not be.
stuff,
Better
like.
not be.
So yeah, we'll have to see what that goes.
Yeah.
But I'll watch it. I liked the animated kind of Flashpoint. I think they're kind of doing some similarities and differences. I think versus the
Yeah.
animated version. Um, but I haven't really. I mean, the last DC like film I saw was Suicide Squad, or the
I mean,
Suicide
I think
Squad.
that was the last DC
That was
film.
the last one. So, haven't seen like Shazam. Um, haven't seen. Yeah, I think that's kind of it. So,
Shazam, it was fine for what it was. You know what I mean?
yeah,
It's
yeah.
not. It's more, I'd say, for kids, not for kids, but yeah, it was more kid leaning
Oh,
than the
okay.
others.
Interesting.
I wasn't. I don't know. I wasn't a huge fan of the new Keaton look. Of course, I wasn't. Um, but we'll have to see because that's a leaked, like, the costume never looks as it should in those kind of test photos. So
Yeah, yeah.
I'll save my judgment. But for right now, yes, if I'm judging, I think it looks like shit. But that's just me. I think it looks too clean. That Keaton, it was a rough and tumble kind of,
Yeah.
with
I
the rubber, and it just looked, I don't know.
You
Um,
got to give character to your costumes because it tells a story, right? If it's
you
kind of
know,
just clean and yeah. So that's what I hope for. Maybe that's. I mean, funny enough, kind of going off the Batman movie with Robert Pattinson. I did like the approach they had to the costume and everything, and specific parts kind of made sense to maybe his what he utilizes or whatever. Um, you could see the detail with like the leather and stuff on his cowl, so it was really cool. So,
yeah.
um, I do hope they don't kind of just be like, we're just bringing this character back and we're just gonna like recreate a suit. But I don't
That's
know.
that's what's gonna happen.
Yeah. But
That is what's
I
gonna
have I
happen.
have faith in the costuming peoples because those. I mean, I've seen just like when you see a movie and then you see like the cost. If you have a behind the scenes and they're like talking about the costumes and um, I just watched one from the Ghostbusters Afterlife movie.
Yeah.
What's it called? Tested with Adam Savage. That's his like YouTube channel. Um, he did an interview with a lot of the different departments from that movie because he just had access to interview them,
Sure.
and he interviewed the costume department, and it was like crazy because you like notice all these details when they explain it to you, and it's like, oh, I didn't even notice that, like on the costume, why they chose to stitch it a specific way, or if they're recreating costume from like the 80s, the original like Ghostbusters costumes, the threading and how they try to get the like correct color and all this kind of stuff. And so it's all in the costume department, right, to really kind of get those details in. So I don't know if we'll see some of that or not,
I just
but
modern day, I'd say the last 5 or so years of superhero movies, the costumes have just looked fucking cheap. I mean, especially
yeah,
Marvel because they do a lot of their stuff in post, but based off that image of Keaton, based off the image of the Batgirl, um,
yeah,
so and some of the Flash shit looks rough too. It's just like you guys aren't even trying. You guys, I don't know. I have respect for people in their craft. Don't get me wrong. I think it's the designers and people being like, no, it all has to feel this way. It has to.
yeah, yeah.
I think the Batman is very different in that regard.
Hmm.
And I have to say, I rewatched the Batman yesterday because it debuted on HBO Max.
That's right. Yeah, yeah.
Liked it a whole lot more the second time.
Okay, that's kind of my feeling. I'm kind of waiting for a gap in my week to kind of watch it again. But
Yeah.
yeah, I feel like I might it might be a lot better the second time around because it's just like, yeah, you see a movie, you kind of just, these are all my expectations or whatever, and then
Yes.
you get out of it and you're like, this is how I don't know if I like this part or whatever, but I am curious.
Going
Yeah,
into it knowing like the full thing helps a lot.
yeah, and
A
seeing
lot
it
of
in.
things that bugged me didn't bug me as much, but there's still some of my criticisms of it that I think are completely fucking valid.
Oh yeah,
And
like the voiceover
but,
thing. I still wish they kind of had him like have that more throughout the
yeah,
movie,
it was just a
because
bookend piece.
yeah, and I just thought those things, those choices, I think would have worked better. But yeah, I am curious to watch it again, and it's kind of floating in my list of movies that I literally went through HBO Max and just like added the like movies you want to watch onto your list. And I just did like I just went through. Okay, I want to watch this thing. I want to watch this thing. There's a few movies on there, but yeah, the Batman just got added, so I was like, oh man, I kind of want to watch this. And like my coworkers were talking about it today, and I was like, damn, I gotta watch it again. But I gotta like spend like 2.5 hours of my time to do that. So
Yeah.
gotta find some time this week. But yeah, well, that's cool. That's
So
cool.
one last bit of news here, because this dropped right before we got on. Ezra Miller was arrested again in
Again,
Hawaii. Yeah, this is
again.
the third assault on the third woman in 3 years.
Whoa.
Like this is, I think they should Kevin Spacey him out of the Flash. Bring in fucking Grant Gustin or whoever. Get someone else who's going to be reliable, who's not going to get fucked up and cause a PR nightmare. CGI their shit. You've already dealt with Superman lip CGIing off the mustache. You can fucking CGI someone on Ezra Miller.
Man.
Take, and everyone online, like, whatever. I'm not going to get into it. I'm just saying, this guy has no respect for people, and
Yeah, that's man. Yeah,
they are a kind of piece of shit.
yeah, and I feel like the third strike right there, man.
Yeah.
Which I'm sure WBDC is looking at probably replacing him. So
I wish they would just boot his image out of the entire fucking thing.
yeah,
But
man, that's yeah, that sucks, man.
yeah,
Not for him because he put himself in that situation, right? So,
yeah. He threw a chair at a woman
dude,
and
what
she got a
is?
gash on her forehead.
So what?
So
What do you? Drugs? What's the just? I don't know,
I think
man.
it's drugs, feeling like you're untouchable. Because again, this is the third incident and he has suffered zero repercussions,
Yeah, yeah,
right? He's still in Fantastic Beasts. He's still the Flash. He's still like, um, I don't know. But yeah, I definitely
yeah.
think drugs is a part of it. Absolutely.
Damn, that's yeah, that's crazy, man.
Yeah.
I was not expecting It's like just after the recent one. It's like you would think
2 weeks ago. Yeah.
probably not do anything like that because
Get
maybe
out of
you're
Hawaii.
yeah,
Fuck.
yeah, that too. But
Leave
like
the
yeah, your career is kind of
poor people alone.
in a bad spot now because of that stuff, and you know how it is now with all these kind of celebrities and like the cancel culture shit and or just in general like
But
just
why isn't he getting canceled? That's the thing. Like, there
yeah,
are, like, I don't, okay, Will Smith, we can talk all day about the fucking slap, but like, does he deserve to be canceled? Does he deserve to have his career taken away from him? No, he just needs a divorce. And that's
yeah,
it. Um, fucking Ezra Miller should be canceled. You know what I mean? Or at least I don't think anyone should be canceled except if they're like fucking Harvey Weinstein. But you know what I mean?
yeah. He's
He shouldn't be canceled, but he should suffer repercussions for his
repercussions.
actions,
Yeah,
which he
yeah.
is not doing yet. So, um,
Man, maybe the
there we go.
next podcast it might be the story of him being recast or something crazy like that.
Man,
What when's
nothing
that
would make me happier.
when's that movie supposed to come out? The
It, it was supposed to come out this year, and now it got pushed to, I believe, June of next year.
Oh, okay. Okay. So they could do some stuff there.
Yeah.
Who knows? Yeah. Dude, that's crazy, man. Yeah. We'll see, man. I might watch that. Funny enough, I might watch that Fantastic Beasts movie
You
sometime.
couldn't pay me. You
Yeah.
couldn't pay me enough.
But yeah, that is yeah, that's a shame because yeah, I mean, they're going to be promoting that movie quite a bit, right? And a lot of people are.
Have to.
Yeah. So, I mean, I liked Grant Gustin as the Flash. I think the CW show fell off a little bit. It gets tough when you're churning out season by season with like 20 episodes each season, which,
Yeah.
for a show like that, it could benefit, from having a shorter season or series or whatever. But I did like Grant Gustin as the Flash. He was very believable and genuine. They showed him from the very beginning of his kind of origin. So like, you got to see him grow with the character as the seasons gone by. And they did some pretty wild stuff, pulling from the comics as far as like Flash related stuff. So, they have an established fan base of people who are starting to know those stories. And they were able to do like some of the bigger Crisis on Infinite Earths stories and all that kind of stuff. So, I don't know. People, I feel like, see him as their Flash, and I haven't really, outside of just all the Ezra Miller controversies and stuff. I just haven't really connected really with his version of the Flash.
Yeah.
He's only been in two movies.
Been in the
Right?
Justice League. He has a tiny cameo in Suicide Squad. He has a
Yeah.
tiny cameo on that Infinite Crisis or whatever. Um,
Yeah.
so he's played the role weirdly a number of times, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Just haven't really bought it yet from him. Which sucks because it's like when he was like first talking about playing the Flash, he gave me the kind of Andrew Garfield vibes where he's just like, I love this character. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm very honored to play that kind of character. And, he had at the time, I felt like the kind of actor he would be that kind of quirky, he would be like the fast talker kind of Flash or whatever. But now when I hear these stuff with him, it's like, man, I don't know, man. I don't know if I can, we try, I don't know how you feel about it, but you try to separate, the artist and
Sure,
at
but I mean,
times,
that
but
becomes a little impossible when they can't stay out of the news simultaneously when their movie is about to drop. You
exactly.
know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's on them. That's on you know, they're putting it in your face at that point. You're not asking to be inundated with news of them and their bad behavior.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. And it kind of tarnishes the character for you even before you go into
Absolutely.
the movie, right? So,
Well,
um,
you could take a guy like Chris Evans. Once he was cast as Captain America, he was like, "You're not going to see me coming out of a strip club anymore because I have a job to do, and you can't be Captain America coming out of a strip club." You know what I
yeah,
mean?
he
Um,
represents a lot of
he
different things, right?
represents
Yeah.
more than just, yeah, he has to live that role outside of it, and he respects what that role is and what it means to a lot of people.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
I don't know. Anyway, just wild. Third
Wow.
arrest
Wow,
or
dude.
third whatever, third run-in.
That is,
Um,
I can't believe that, dude.
not
But
wild, dude. That's fucking
I
wild.
was just expecting like a few months would go by and then the third one would hit or something. But this
Nope.
is like 2 weeks ago, dude. I
Yeah,
was just reading
yeah.
about the last one, so
When he
yeah, man.
threatened to kill someone's wife, he seems like a nice, or I'm sorry, excuse me. They seem like a nice person, that Ezra Miller. Um, I'm not even trying to be snarky or shitty. I'm trying to watch. I'm trying to be cognizant. There's a lot of people online being like, we have to respect their pronouns. It's like they ain't respecting shit. You know what I mean? Let's just
Yeah, yeah,
why are I mean, not that we shouldn't express concern for everyone, but why isn't the first concern for the people they injured? You know what I mean?
hmm
Um, whatever. I'm getting off my soapbox. Let's move on to some lists,
It's all
Shawnee
good,
Day.
dude. So the list tonight is we're doing one list, and it's gonna be your top 5 movies you can watch anytime.
Time and aware. Oh, wow.
Anytime and anywhere. Any format or, on your phone, on Blu-ray. Just when you're just feeling like you want to put in a movie and you're like, I freaking love this movie. I'm going to just put this on, and just enjoy it for what it is.
Hell yeah. Well, real quick, thank you for as you said, we only have one list tonight because as I just regaled our dear, sweet, lovely imaginary audience with my odyssey of um, I'm brain dead, folks, and I didn't have it in me to come up with a list tonight, so I
That's
apologize.
okay.
Although right before we started, I was like, oh shit, top five wedding movies. We should have done that. Oh well.
Oh,
Um,
ooh,
next time.
next time.
Um, so this was a great this took I have so many movies written down. Um, this is gonna be a tough one.
Okay,
Honestly,
okay.
you could do all of them Scorsese movies easily. But so what I think of when I think of this kind of movie, I think of channel surfing. Not that
Okay.
really any of us cord cutters do that anymore, but remember the days of channel surfing, and you come across a movie and it's 20 minutes in, it's 30 minutes in, it's whatever, and
You're in, right? Yeah.
you're in. So number five, I'm gonna go Batman Begins. That's a movie kind of wherever I tune into it. It's got me. I'm gonna watch it until
You're
the
in
end.
it, man. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, so there we go. Um, number four, I was gonna say Wolf of Wall Street, but the more I think about it, I'm gonna slide in The Departed.
Ooh, yeah. Yeah.
So
I can watch that
there we are.
anytime. Yeah, man.
Yeah. And that's another one. You come into it at any point in the movie and you don't, like you're immediately just
Focus,
like,
dude.
you know, I don't know. And it's hard to kind of give you more than that or talk about these movies because it's just that it's coming into it in the middle. It's coming into it. You ever throw on a movie digitally and just kind of swipe and find, and
Scrub
see
through
where
a
you
little
end
bit.
up and,
Yeah.
just kind of get through because the first act is great, but I mean, sometimes I just want to like come into a movie in the middle like I used to when I was on cable.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, number three, now my favorite Indiana Jones movie is Raiders of the Lost Ark. But if I'm going to go for a movie that I can put on anytime, it's Last Crusade.
Okay,
Um,
okay.
it's, I think, easier, more enjoyable, dare I say, more enjoyable watch. It's more lighthearted. You have Sean Connery in it,
Hmm.
bringing that excellent dynamic and kind of witticism to it. Um, and the action is top notch. It's not as dark as Temple of Doom, and it's not as serious as Raiders of the Lost Ark. So it kind of hits that sweet spot
Yeah, sweet balance
of
right there.
watchability. I
Yeah.
feel like I always come into it whenever like it's on TV or anything around the time when they got to get on the plane and get away from the Zeppelin or whatever, and they wind up on the motorcycle, and well, we've got to go to Berlin. Girls in Berlin. Like, um, but yeah, that movie, you could anytime, even from the very beginning with River Phoenix as young Indy and
Yeah.
doing that whole thing. That movie is endlessly watchable. It's endlessly charming. Um, yeah. Number two, The Spy Who Shagged Me is my number two. That is another movie I can put on from the very beginning, and he immediately turns on Jerry Springer, and there's Dr. Evil, and my father is evil, and he wants to take over the world, and today we have Scott Evil, and just it's so stupid, and it never once takes itself seriously at all. It's always winking at you. But it's another one where it has this momentum, it has this charm, uh, and the jokes land, I'd say 99% of the fucking time. I don't think
Yeah.
there's one really dud
Bad.
in the movie.
Yeah.
Um, Other people might not agree, but comedy is subjective. But yeah, I love The Spy Who Shagged Me. I think it's endlessly watchable. But I think the most entertaining film of all time, the movie when I think about movies where I come across it in the middle of channel surfing and have to watch till the bitter end, is Goodfellas. Um,
Ooh. Okay. All right.
I mean, you
Yeah.
can come in at the point where he's like, one time One time my mother told me to take the groceries all the way, or whatever he says.
Yeah.
Or you can come into it during the Lufthansa heist, so Jimmy, or you can come into it like, whatever. I don't know. You get the point. You get the fucking
Yeah.
point. All right. That move, you can turn it on at any point, and it's entertaining, it's funny, it's scary, it's thrilling, it's violent, it's everything. It is everything. Um, and there's killer voiceover, so you're always caught up. You know what I mean? No matter what, you always know what's going on. I think Goodfellas is the most entertaining movie ever made, full stop. And yeah,
You're
there we
right,
go.
man. I don't have it on my list, but you're right. Like I think I've channeled surfed enough. Like I don't have cable, but anytime I'm back at my folks' place and we're just like flipping through channels, I'm like, oh, dude, Goodfellas, let's put that on.
Yeah,
Even my, it's also like a movie. I think like my family like would like to, we can watch that movie together, or if I'm with my brother or something, and we'll both sit there like glued to the television. Um,
exactly.
Dude, Goodfellas. That's a good point to make, though. Like, you can kind of any scene you can drop into and still be super engaged. Is also like a big point for like watching a movie that you really like to watch anytime. You know what I mean? Like every
Yeah.
scene you can kind of like, and then you just like for me, it's like remembering the scenes and like kind of since you've seen the movie enough times you can kind of you drop in, you're like, okay, this stuff has already happened, and like kind of build it up again. But
Yeah.
Goodfellas is a good one, dude. I even man, that's on my
It's like
top
an album where you
five.
don't skip a
Skip
song, you know
a
what I mean?
song,
It's
dude.
it's just yeah.
It's on my top five of all time, Goodfellas, and I was like, I'm gonna try my best not to have my all time movies on this list, but
That was very
very hard.
noble of
Yeah.
you.
I have two of them. But yeah, man. Let's see. Number five. You okay? I did have Batman Begins, so I'm gonna strike that. I'm gonna
All
put
right.
I'm gonna put Wayne's World.
Wayne's World was on my runner up. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Wayne's World. Funny enough, the whole movie is about the Wayne's World show, and it's like about a TV program and everything. It's just so funny. There's like again, you if you drop in it whenever, there's just so many like great funny scenes that just kind of, I mean, the dynamic between Wayne and Garth, especially, I think that just what makes the movie, and I just love watching those two like just kind of interact and just be all about their show and being just a bunch of like goofballs throughout the movie, and so it's a fun feel good movie, and I feel like I have dropped in a few times just like randomly watching the movie, and it's just like, oh my god, it's the scene where Cassandra's singing and Wayne is like getting googly eyes off her, and
She's a bear.
or yeah. So Wayne's World for number five. Number four, I've got The Sandlot.
Ooh, you
Which
son
I
of a
think
bitch.
probably on out of all the movies on this list, I've probably seen this movie like a lot of times. If we're referring to
Yeah.
like cable TV, or just kind of flipping through channels, I feel like it's always on. One, it's it's such a cool little story. It's about baseball. It's about kind of like being a kid, and just the adventures you get with that. I always love the like third act of the film where they're trying to get like the Babe Ruth ball over the fence, the Fourth of July scene, all that kind of stuff. So it's great. It has a good soundtrack, and it's just such a fun movie, especially for it brings me back, I guess, to like being a kid, and I wasn't a baseball player, but like remembering us playing like soccer and sports, and like that's like what we lived and breathed for like a moment in our life where we're just like that's what we love to do or love to play, and just having that like passion of like hanging out and playing games like sports games with like your friends, I guess. I
Yeah.
think that's what brings it back, and then having like childhood friends and stuff. So yeah, Sandlot for number four.
Love it.
um, Number three, I've got That Thing You Do, which is one of my top five of all time. top
Hell
fives of
yeah.
all time. I just grown to love this movie so much. It's just again great soundtrack. I love the whole kind of trajectory of like the Wonders band and how they're kind of coming together, and then they play their first few tours or they play their tour. Um, it's just so much fun. It's again another feel good movie because I think the obviously the music heightens it up. The characters, we got like Tom Hanks directed it and he's also starring in it. Um, it's got like this kind of nice tone to it. It's kind of quirky and funny at times, and it has that kind of period of time, kind of Beatles esque, right? So it kind of gives you that like feeling. Um, yeah, I mean one of my favorite movies. I just love to put it on, and I wouldn't say I have seen. I don't know if I've seen this via. I think I've seen it on television before, but I just have it like on streaming, and whenever I'm like, hey, I just want to watch like a fun
Whenever you're in that
musical
mood for
movie.
that
Yeah,
thing you do.
dude, chopping up the
Yes.
charts, hopping up the charts. And then I just showed Odalis the movie for the first. She hasn't seen it, and I think I showed it to her like last month, I think. And I had to tell her I was like, "This is on my top 5 of all time," so it's very serious.
So if you don't
Movie.
like it,
If you don't like it, then I don't know. But
I don't know what's gonna happen.
but yeah, she liked it, and
Nice.
I was like, oh yeah, like because I remember playing the soundtrack for her at one point before she saw the movie, and I was like, oh yeah, like you'll get why I love this song, but you're gonna have to get used to the song because it gets played like multiple times throughout the movie, and I don't get tired of it at all. Um,
No,
so yeah, no, not at all. It's a good tune. It's good. It's a good song.
and it only gets better as the movie goes on.
Yeah, because they do like different versions of it, and when they're like first playing it, and then when they're playing it on television. So, but yeah, number 3, That Thing You Do.
Love that.
Um, Number 2, funny enough, I have an Indiana Jones movie on here. It wasn't Raiders of the Lost Ark, and it wasn't The Last Crusade, even though I love those over this movie. But I guess out of the like random and just kind of like out there stuff, Temple of Doom for me for
All
2.
right, baby.
Um, I think just because it's a different tone I think from those 2 movies, and it's got more like I don't know what like the word I'm looking for, but not fantasy, but like it has more of that kind of that
Cultish.
yeah, that middle ground of like it's Indiana Jones with this kind of mixed into it, and there's a lot of scenes I remember a lot from it. Although I have done a few rewatches of The Last Crusade recently, or I've the last movie I saw from the Indiana Jones series like on a rewatch was The Last Crusade, and I still think
Gotcha.
that's a phenomenal movie. And I do agree that you can kind of jump in wherever and still enjoy the movie. But I don't know. I don't know something about Temple of Doom. Maybe it's the mining cart chases, and
Oh, that is great.
they're in
That is
this
great.
like palace thing, and it's they're in this like area, and then Indy is like being kind of possessed and like hypnotized into being like evil, and I don't know. It's like all these
It
like
goes there. It does
it
some
goes
weird,
there, yeah.
wacky shit.
And then short round, we have like short round, and then the kind of the first act, and yeah, it's just a fun ride. So maybe
Yeah.
that's it. So number two, um, Temple of Doom, and then number 1, which will just always be my favorite movie of all time, and on my top 5s, but Back to the Future, the
I was,
first one,
yeah, yep, yep.
which is an obvious choice for me, but it is one of those movies where if it's on television, if it's playing, if a friend's playing at I will sit down and watch the whole movie.
Yeah. Sean, you gotta
Or
leave. Back to the Future's on, motherfucker.
yeah, it's on right now. We gotta save the clock tower, man. So, but yeah, it's one of those movies that for me it's like I wouldn't say timeless, but like because it takes place at obviously certain time. It's very specific, to specific time eras or whatever, 50s and 80s. But I think that's why I find it such an enjoyable film, and I believe it cannot. I wish it will never be remade because it's just like a lightning in the bottle for me. Like it just
Yeah.
captured so much of one the theme of like okay time traveling. There's like what would happen if you met your parents when they were like teenagers thing. You
And
know,
what if your
it's
mom wanted to sleep with you?
yeah. There's that whole thing. There's
Which like is my favorite part of the movie. I don't know what that says
but
about
it's also
me.
weird.
Like,
But I mean, and there's just like the icon. I mean, Doc Brown and Marty and like their kind of their chemistry together, and the DeLorean, the time. I mean, it's just like, and then just the small little reveals throughout. Like him, you know, seeing the time machine for the first time, him going to the 50s, him meeting his
yeah.
father there's a lot of highlighted moments in the film, and if you dropped in, it would be such a fun watch. And then I still get goosebumps like watching the third act of the film. Like, is he gonna make
It's
it in
it's
time? Like,
it's so expertly crafted. It's like, when people
like
talk about a movie being made like a watch, like a really fine, it's just,
yeah,
it is doing that thing where it's working on such a tight schedule and it knows exactly when to ratchet up the tension, ratchet up a little bit more.
yeah,
It knows its beats so well. And it's like the groundwork for it, the entire movie. It's one of those movies where every single line of dialogue, everything matters,
yeah.
and it all pays off. Um, yeah,
That's a
yeah,
good way to
yeah,
That's
yeah,
a good way to put it, especially with like it's a very tight story. Like I feel, as far as the story beats and the editing and how they kind of put it together. And I mean I still like the 2 and 3, but the first one will always be like my favorite one. And just that kind of premise and story was just so interesting from the get go. And I'm starting to rack up my collection of like Back to the Future. I guess eventually when I have enough space,
I have
I'll have
a
like an area for that because man, I mean, you got me some of the vinyl soundtracks, which was really cool. O'Dallas for Christmas got me the Out of Time
oh, right on.
plate, the license plate.
Yeah.
I'm trying to figure out if I want to frame that and like have it, like in a frame or something. Um,
Could you put it on your car?
Dude, that'd be sick, actually.
That'd be tight.
um, yeah. So yeah, I'm eventually we'll probably have like an area for that kind of stuff. I
They've got
have,
the Lego now.
dude. I was
Have you seen
looking
it?
at yeah, I was looking because I was at Barnes and Noble the other day, and I
Oh,
think they. Oh, it might have been a different one that I saw, but they have a lot of different Legos there that I didn't realize they sold that stuff at Barnes and Noble. Um,
nice.
but I've been looking on like the websites and stuff. And my girlfriend's son Flynn, we just got him into Legos, so I was like, oh man, like this is just
Don't be
another
selfish about it. Don't
yeah.
you dare be like, this is for him.
Yeah, no. Well, I
Don't
I know
really.
immediately if I buy a Lego, it's gonna get disassembled eventually. But actually, the one we got him like a Spider-Man with like Nick Fury, and you just build
Oh,
this car for Nick Fury. That's kind of the main like assembled piece, and hasn't taken apart yet. So I'm happy about that.
not very
but
nice.
but yeah, that's actually I guess that's my list. I guess that's kind of a share for me. So if we're going to share time,
Yeah,
uh,
yeah, yeah.
building Legos again. I picked up
Dude.
some my mom. I mean, I'm sure we had like more Legos, but my mom condensed them into like two plastic, boxes or whatever, and we were playing with Legos. Not the last weekend, but the weekend before, when we had Flynn and my girlfriend in San Francisco. Then I brought them back over here, and we have them just kind of sitting around. And yeah, I built like a little car for him, and um, yeah,
Very
it
cool.
was fun. And then I'm like, every now and then, if he's good and we treat him to something, he's interested in Legos now. So I'm like, oh man, like kind of crazy. There's a lot of like franchise stuff now. Obviously with the Marvel stuff. I was kind of impressed with some of the Star Wars stuff. I was like, man, dude, like I want to get an X-wing. Like that's kind of cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm like, but I'm not. The funny thing is, I'm not. I used to love collecting stuff like that, but I'm just not. Especially moving into our new apartment, like I tried to downsize and just like I don't want to have
Yeah.
like a lot of stuff. And I'm not. I wouldn't say as into like the Lego collecting as maybe sometime down the line if we have space and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think eventually it might become Legos, and then maybe we'll have to do kind of like what our probably our fam used to do is buy two of each thing. So buy the one that you want to play with, and buy the one that your kids play with too. So
Yeah.
or collect, if you want to collect them or have them. So
Lego's good stuff, man. Apparently, it's a good investment as well.
really,
Yeah, apparently their stock has just been going like crazy or something. Or not stock, but like their value.
dang,
So
interesting.
like if you hold on to the boxes and keep it all like together and shit.
That's interesting. I mean,
Yeah.
for me, I think you know, yeah, I could see that happening. I'd probably collect like get double of each thing or something.
Well, apparently it was a lot of the pandemic. People had time to build shit, you
That
know?
too. And you know what?
And yeah.
I gotta say, because I would say this is that Spider-Man was like his first official Lego set, outside of just like the box of Legos. It was the first time I had to explain like instructions to him, and
Oh wow.
that was interesting because one, it's like okay, like you're gonna have instructions until you're an adult, pretty much. So, and it's a very good concept to know because one, you get to be familiar with the pieces and like you can visually see, and it's great with what Lego's always kind of kept their instructions this, the same,
Yeah.
which has been great
And
because it's just
wordless.
and wordless, and you just kind of, just look at the piece and just match it there. And if he made a mistake, I was like, hey, look at the picture and like, try to match the piece. And then, of course, they tell you like find the pieces first and then, put it in these
Oh yeah.
places. So it's like, it was a perfect little teaching moment, which was cool. And I have confidence if we get like another Lego set, it'll probably be a small one, but if we get another one, it'll, he can probably do it, maybe with some supervision, but I think eventually he'll get used to that. And then, if he ventures into other things like reading instructions for, I don't know, or, he's starting school too soon. So it's like that kind of stuff will help, with, school and remembering things and like coordinating hand-eye coordination, all that stuff. So yeah,
Yeah.
that's kind of my Lego spiel,
Love
and I'm
it.
kind of excited to get back into it. And then eventually, when we have an area to display it or have a place for it, I think I might dive into one of those. The Star Wars ones look pretty cool, so I'm like, oh man, yeah, I might
Yeah.
have to
Yeah.
eventually.
I feel that.
Joy, do you
I
have
feel
anything to
that.
share today?
Yeah, actually. Hold on, I'm gonna get up one more time. Sorry, so not prepared. I am writing a well, let me back up. There's a local paper called the Potrero View, and they were looking for writers. So I just emailed and the guy was like, "Do you want to interview this photographer? He just put out a book." So I had a lovely chat with Mr. Robert Gumpert. He did this
Cool.
book called Division Street,
Oh, cool.
and kind of is taking pictures of life on the streets in San Francisco, and
Cool. Okay.
it's beautiful. It's a beautiful book, Division Street. I'm excited to write my piece on him because really just fascinating guy to talk to. I enjoyed him very much, and yeah, there you go.
Cool. Wow, that's super cool, man. Do a
Yeah,
little interview piece.
doing a little journalism, but
Journalism.
yeah.
Yeah.
But that's where we're at. That's all I got. That's all she wrote.
That's all she wrote, everyone.
That's all she wrote. Shawnee, where can we find more of your work on the internet this week?
You guys can find me on Instagram at Sean Day Music. You can see the tags below us, or our
Oh,
handles below us. And then my website, shondaymusic.net.
Net.
I'm trying to update it with. I'm trying to get like digital copies of our Blind Issues discography. I don't know if you have that. I'm gonna have to ask my dad for that. But I'm trying to get our. I'm trying to get
They're
our
on
album
a hard
covers on there.
drive somewhere.
I'm trying to get our album
Apple
cover
Music
on there.
fucked me.
Oh, what happened?
Years ago, I signed up for Apple Music, and anything that wasn't in Apple Music was erased from my library.
Oh, that's right.
So
I
all my
actually.
demos, all everything.
Side note, I still have I think my iTunes like library from way back, and it has some of that stuff in there. So
Nice.
I don't know if we have the same library or discography, but I will. I've been saying this. I will like zip it up and like send it to all you guys.
Right on, right on.
But yeah, man, yeah, check out the website. Freaking trying to update it with some more projects and stuff that we've had in the past, and then outside of the sharing stuff, and this is kind of on my own accord. I've been writing a lot of like orchestral music recently,
Okay.
and I'm putting together. I think I want to put together a little album of, I guess it'd be like songs that are kind of like, I would say, I don't know if it's like trailer music, but like kind of epic type music.
Yeah.
And I'm looking into submitting to a few libraries that do like trailer, very like specific trailer focused music.
Yeah,
Which
that's
is another
awesome.
endeavor I'm doing on the side. But I don't know, I had this just kind of like, I've had an interest in it, and kind of the stuff I'm doing with the music production recently has been like cue music, which is the kind of background music stuff. So, and then of course I was like, is trailer music like a whole thing? And it is. It's like a whole separate thing. People write music specifically for trailers. So I'm putting together kind of a curated like album of music, and if I can
Nice.
sell it off or have it somewhere, that will be kind of in the making. So yeah, so that's kind of a random share, but eventually I'll have it maybe to listen to, or if I sell it, I don't know if that will happen, but it would be cool to have it available for people to listen to. But
That would be.
We'll see.
Well, now that you've gotten everyone's hopes up.
I know, dude. Well, it's a tough one, because it's when you sell this type of music, it's like,
And you can't have it out there.
yeah, it could be like they call
Yeah.
it exclusive, right? Exclusivity, which can get kind of tough. But that doesn't stop me from also releasing music in that same kind of genre and type of music. So yeah, I've been really kind of getting interested in that, and just my outside endeavors. I've been looking into submitting more music to these kind of publishing libraries, which will
Nice.
also help with some income, obviously, and also, yeah, just getting more music out there because what I've realized over the many years of doing this is, yeah, you shouldn't waste any music, and there's a lot of music that needs to be put into television and TV shows, and I wouldn't say I've given up on the getting famous part. I mean, I don't want to be famous like that, but I think a lot of musicians who are producing or whatever, is a tip for everyone. Do sync licensing, because I feel like that is where your music can grow, and can also give you some income too. So, yeah, well, that's it.
Fascinating.
I can't wait to. In fact,
No, you're done. I'm cutting
I'm
you
done.
off, dude.
Okay,
You had how
I'm
many
done.
share times?
I will say
I'm
this
just kidding.
after the podcast, but
No, say it right now, so I don't have to hear it after.
I'm putting together like videos, but I realize like I'm not like a person to put like some. I just put like a simple video with a visual, I would say, for this music, but eventually I would like to cut it or put it to like footage. So I was gonna say, Joey, if you have any footage that you would help inspire me or something,
Yeah.
I could definitely write something to it, and then we'll have a visual piece and a musical piece together to have. So That was
That would
another
be
side
hot.
project I was thinking of, outside of the podcast and blind issues and all that stuff. But yeah, I just realized like I can't put together like a makeshift video unless I have it all written out and it has like a very intentional kind of thing. So I was like, oh, might as well collaborate and maybe interpret another piece of media. So
Well, there we go, man.
there we go.
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Put it together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, Joey, where can we
You
find you
can
on
check
the
me out at Joey Parati on Instagram and on Twitter and on my website, joeyparati.com. You can check out the show at Top 5 Pod. That's TOPFIVE 5POD on Instagram, on Twitter at gmail.com. We're on Apple Music, Google Play, SoundCloud, Anchor, Spotify, wherever you listen to your podcast. You can also watch us on YouTube. So please give us a like, give us a listen, give us a follow, give us your love, and we will give you
all the devil horns in return.
all the devil horns in return. Rock and roll. Until next time, I'm Joey Parati.
And I'm Sean Day.
Thanks for listening. Cha cha cha.
That was not.